Welcome to UnCurated Conversations, a podcast where real, authentic stories take center stage. I'm your host, Mlamli Mayosi, and in each episode, I sit down with strangers and intriguing guests to discover what makes them who they are, what shaped them, and what keeps them out of trouble. I'm fascinated by human beings. What makes us tick? What's their story? And what's the context? And finally, what happens when we approach each other with curiosity instead of judgment? Come join me, because the best stories are the ones we never expect to hear. Let's go. Today I have the privilege of sitting down with Jared Kent. Jared and I met 2 hours ago whilst I was waiting for someone who cancelled on me, and we struck up a conversation. And 2 hours later, after saying how's it but, here we found ourselves. In this episode, Jared and I, we reminisce about growing up in the South Coast of KZN. Jared going to one of the top boys' schools in KwaZulu-Natal, leaving South Africa with his parents and moving to the UK. In the UK, Jared carried on playing sport, representing not only his age group county, but first team county cricket also. We discuss the abuse that Jared's mom went through from the father, culminating in Jared's mom divorcing and leaving Jared with his father in the UK, and how the abuse was then redirected to Jared. Child services had to get involved, meeting wrong characters, and then also looking for father figures in wrong areas, and how those father figures led to a life of crime, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, even defrauding the United Kingdom's social welfare system, the dole, and how all these deeds landed Jared in and out of the United Kingdom prison system. And that's just in this episode. Without further ado, Jared Kent. Port Shepstone. You know Port Shepstone? I'm very fond of Port Shepstone.
Are you?
Yeah, because my mom was born in Bizana.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's just down the road from where my mom stays. In Port Edward, yeah.
I'm thinking Port Edward.
Port Edward, yeah. Yeah, because it's close to, yeah.
It's right, because when growing up, we used to go to Mzamba and the casino.
Yeah, Wild Coast.
Yeah. So that whole strip from Bizana to Port Edward to Port Shepstone, Margate.
Yeah.
Wild
Coast.
Yeah. So I spent.
It's beautiful there. Yeah. So my mom actually retired. Well, she bought an apartment there.
So you say your mom bought a flat?
Yeah, it's like a holiday resort, like in a nature reserve there.
Okay.
And she was living in Dubai at the time when they bought it, so they were just, every once a year going there.
Okay.
But when they retired, they moved down there permanently.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was strange for me going there.
Is it?
Because I went there when I was younger.
Okay.
When I was sort of small, we go to the casino and go to Sandomir and all this, and then going there like now as an adult, like 20-something years later.
Yeah.
And everybody's grown up there, and they all know each other.
Right.
It was quite daunting.
Okay.
New guy in town, and it's like all eyes on me.
Is it?
And it was like the last thing.
But then where did you grow up then?
Well, actually, I grew up until I was 11 in Durban.
Okay.
And then my dad, we immigrated to the UK.
Oh, okay.
And then I did about 9 years there in the UK. Yeah.
Okay. So you went to school in Durban?
Yeah.
Which school?
Westville.
Okay. That's a rugby school also?
It's a very good rugby school,
Green,
yes.
Green rugby jerseys.
Yeah. Westville, Kearsney, Glenwood are good.
Okay.
As well, yeah. But Westville and Maritzburg College.
And did you draw rugby?
I did. I played fullback, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
but cricket was more my...
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I was a better cricket player.
provincial colours or?
In the UK, I played for Surrey, yeah, so it would be provincial, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Up until I was about 16, yeah.
Okay. So you were quite a sportsman.
Sports-oriented, tennis, swimming, cricket, rugby. I mean, everything I was competitive at. Pool,
Right.
Everything, I love it, you know.
So
Badminton.
academic side?
Yeah, I mean, maths wasn't my forte, but I excelled in like geography, history, natural science, English lit, English language. What else? Science is not ever, I passed, but I was terrible at French. I was useless.
You guys did French?
Yeah, with the option between German, Spanish, or French.
Okay.
I went for French, probably because the teacher was the best looking at the time. And I don't know what was going on.
And then at the time, did you have any siblings? Or?
No, I'm only child.
Only child, okay. So all eyes were on you.
Yeah, and by that time, my parents were just about to get divorced.
What age are you now?
Now?
No.
Then,
yeah, when they were about to get divorced.
I think I was almost 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just trying to work out my timeline now.
Yeah.
10, 12. Yeah, I was 13.
13, okay.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, sorry. They were having a bit of difficulty, you know, but I didn't really see it, until my mom left.
Okay. So you stayed with your dad?
With my dad, yeah.
Okay.
My mom. It was actually it was quite hectic. It was a cricket award ceremony evening, and I knew my mom was struggling adapting from South African life to a UK life, in a one-bedroom flat with no garden, no animals, cold. She didn't know anybody. Anyway, I was excelling at my cricket, and then we had an awards ceremony, like a braai at one of the guys' house, and all the parents were there. And we were all in the garden, and we heard this like shouting and screaming and this big commotion. And then one of the parents came out and told us all to stay there. Don't come out. And I was looking for my mom and my dad. I couldn't find, where are they, Anyway, I ended up going out the side entrance and then running into the street. And I looked onto the main road, and my mom was running for the main road, and she jumped in front of a car, actually. And then it clipped her. Thank goodness it swerved, and she got hit. And then the ambulance came, and then they put me back inside the house, and then I stayed there for like 2 days. And then when I came out, there was a letter on my bed, and my mom had explained that she left, that she flew back to South Africa.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. So then it was just basically in the UK growing up with your dad?
Yeah.
Okay. And then did your dad meet anyone over that side? Or?
Yeah, he had a couple of girlfriends,
Okay.
But nothing serious, more just for company, I guess,
Right.
Yeah.
How was life for you though? In that, I mean, so your mom, you're 13 when your mom flies back to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you're just getting into your teenage years, and
teenage years, and I didn't really understand because I always thought their relationship was great,
Yeah.
They kept it very well hidden. That obviously it was
Right.
a lot of turmoil and pain, But at the time, I didn't really understand. I didn't grasp it. I do now.
Right. Yeah.
But when you're young and you're pre-teen, coming to teenage years, you question everything. You don't, there's no understanding. Nobody really wants to explain to you, So I was confused. So my dad fed me a lot of lies as well about my mom, the reason why she left, et cetera, and she doesn't want you, she doesn't like you,
At the time, you didn't know there were lies. Excuse me. At the time, you didn't know there were lies, or were you aware that this is not true?
No, I didn't. I thought I actually believed my dad eventually because he used to tell it to me so much, and. So I started believing him, and it was hard for me to speak to my mom because my dad was such it turned out an incredibly abusive human being to her, and then towards me later in life. But I couldn't speak to my mom alone. He would stand there right there, then he'd grab the phone from me. So she ended up not calling anymore because of that. So I had to go to other places to call my mom, and it was always like bits of like quick conversations. So to me, I was building up this picture that she maybe she doesn't want me, but I didn't understand at the time that she was actually just trying to save herself, because she didn't realize that what my dad would do to her, he would do to me, you know. But
Okay.
yeah, I didn't see that one coming.
Right. So it's just basically, I'm assuming, then you're just putting your mind in sport and just playing sport
Yeah.
and excelling at cricket. It's
Yeah,
cool.
my dad pushed me very hard for cricket, because I played rugby. I played club rugby there, and I played for school. But when I went for cricket, I played men's first team. I played for my club, and I played for school.
Right.
And that was before Surrey. Then I was, playing for 4 different department leagues, and then I was going to nets during the whole of the winter as well, like 4 or 5 times a week, plus all the games of the weekend. I'm playing 4 games, and one after each other on a Saturday, one after each other on a Sunday, and I was exhausted. I was doing well, but also with my home life, I started losing the passion. My mind was really far away from there, eventually,
When you say home life, what do you mean?
Well, after my mom left, my dad started drinking a lot, and with that, I knew he had a very bad temper. He liked to smash things, and he was very emotional. But I put that down to my mom leaving, and I was starting to get a little bit nervous. I put myself in my room a lot. But then the one day, he asked me to take out the rubbish, because they collect trash on Tuesdays, whatever. And I didn't do it. And then I came back from school, and he had taken the rubbish, and he'd emptied it all over my bed. And then he took me into the room and started screaming and shouting at me and whatnot. And then he grabbed me by the throat, and he threw me against the wall, and he started choking me, quite badly. And then, when he let me go, he gave me a few smacks, and then he just left me on the floor. And I was quite traumatized, and I didn't understand why he'd never done that before, So I was very confused, And then he went to the lounge, and then I stayed in my room, and then it was like nothing happened. When I woke up in the morning, he greeted me, he was happy, which was even more shocking, Just like Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, this complete change. So I thought I put it down to, I got to let me do what he asked, do my chores, do the dishes, clean, whatever the case may be, to avoid that, But when I went to school, my mind was also on what happened to me. And my mind wasn't on schoolwork. Mine was on my mom. I was very unhappy. Children can be very mean, because there's no filter. They say what they want without regards to how you're feeling. And English kids can be very, very, especially with the accent or whatever. But, I played rugby, and then I could hold my own.
Was that after when your mom jumped in front of the car? Then
yeah, everybody found out.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
So, I got treated very differently after that. I still had a couple of my circle of friends, but generally people kind of just,
distance themselves
from me, yeah.
Really?
So, and
do you know what they were saying? I mean, what they were, was it a...
Yeah, I think that, my mom was crazy, mostly just about mental health issues, and that I was the same. So they also those words affected me quite a bit, and then there was a lot of bullying in school, not towards me really, but there was a lot going on, and especially after 9/11, when the attacks happened, because it was quite a diverse school. There were Palestinians, there were Israelis, there was Muslim, and they got attacked quite badly, and stones and beaten up, and
by fellow students,
people that went to school with them, and at the bus stop when we were all waiting for them, that's when the attacks would happen, and it affected me quite badly, It really was. And then also with the violence at home, when I would go home, I never knew what I was going to find. Eventually my dad would find reasons, like my bed is unmade. Then he would beat me up, kick me, throw me down on the ground, choke me. Then he'd leave, and then he would come back and he'd sit me down, and then he would lecture me. But You know, he would, because of the alcohol, he would repeat himself a lot, and by things I didn't understand. You know, and he'd keep me there for hours, and then he'd, you know, kind of, you know, say it's all your fault. This is the reason why I'm doing this. He would never apologize, you know, for what he'd done. In his mind, he was right, you know. And I thought, no, okay, there's a problem with me. You know, this is why he's doing these things to me. I didn't think it was the alcohol, because he always controlled himself really well. You know, he was a functional alcoholic. I didn't understand the consequences of addiction at the time. So, you know, as my school was going on, I got a little bit older. I became very much. I had my friends, I had my social life, but I withdrew into myself. I became quite, you know, a reclusive person. You know, and then I would find other ways of expressing myself. You know, music being one of them, skateboarding being another one, and then I turned to vandalizing things.
Okay.
Yeah, I would go out at nighttime on weekends, and I'd find buildings, cars, and I'd throw bricks through them.
You just alone, you just wake up and just like,
yeah, I'm gonna go. I need to, you know, I'd try and or I'd find other guys on the street, and then maybe I'd throw something or swear at them, and then get them to chase me, and I'd run away and I'd see if I can outrun them, you know. And you know, that became my early teenage years. I lost my passion in cricket, so I left the cricket completely. And then when I was just before my 16th birthday, I got beaten up quite badly by my dad, like really badly. You know, my face was black, it was blue. That one was like almost like a whole day. He locked me in the house, and I couldn't get out. And he would come in stages, you know. And then every time would be different, you know. And he burned me with cigarettes, put boiling water on my hand. He took all the flesh off my hand here. So after that, I was supposed to go to school, but I didn't. So I ran away, and I would, you know, stay away. And then obviously people want to know why I'm absent. The social services got involved. And then they saw me, and then they took me away, and they put me into a youth home.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was quite a shock, you know. I'd completely lost any kind of emotion for my father at that point, because I mean, I'm just giving a brief of what happened. It happened a lot over a lot of years, different ways, emotional, physical, you name it. You know, he poisoned me against everybody, my own family. You know, my own family didn't believe me. He'd beat me up. I had a cousin living in London at the time, and he beat me up, and I ran away to her. And when I got there, she thought that I'd done that to myself. You know, I was crying wolf, and then they sent me straight back to my father. You know, and I was like, oh my word. And so you know, that was quite hectic. And then when I went to the home for boys. You know, you're still supposed to go to school, and if you go to school for a certain amount of days, if you fill your 5 days, you get like £50 at the end of the week, you know. Now I'm here with all these kids from different backgrounds, you know, and whatnot, and all of a sudden I found like kindred souls, people who I can relate to almost, you know, who I don't feel like an outsider. You know, I've got a little bit in common, you know, and a lot of them were older, some were younger, but generally everybody was like treated me okay, you know, like we were fine, you know. And all of a sudden I had this newfound freedom in London. I moved from a suburb to the centre of London, you know, and my imagination just went wild, you know. I was like, cool, I finished my school, my GCSEs, which is like equivalent to just before matric, like your standard 9 or standard 10, you know, without going further education. They asked me if I wanted to do it, but I was like, no, thank you. You know, I wanted to do music, I wanted to do this, I wanted to be creative, I wanted to get in the film industry, I had all these dreams, and I also wanted to be naughty.
Okay.
You know, I had a tendency towards the darker things in life. You know,
Before we get to the darker things in life, just at this stage, where is your dad, and is he in the picture?
He's still in the UK.
No, not now, but I'm saying about at that point in time. Yeah. So you now you're at the social at the boys' school.
Yes.
I mean, did you press charges against your dad in terms of how the social like I'm just trying to understand where is he in your life at that moment? Yeah.
So the police asked me if I wanted to open a case against him. I said no. But it turned out that he had already had an attempted murder case for my mom because what he had done to her. She eventually drops it because of what would happen to me, because the system would take me away, and she didn't realize that at the time, but she sent me photographs of what he had done to her, and it's all shocking. He almost killed her. Like it's really bad. Like, she had facial reconstruction here, all her teeth were out, like you get the picture. That bad. And but at the time he was doing everything in his power to get me to come back home. He's changed, he could talk a good talk, and he's done that before so many times because I'd run away. And I believe him, because he's got this tendency to change himself. People love him. He's charismatic. He's social. He's funny. Women like him. He turns so quickly. So I felt in my heart I was being led here under false. I think because the police and the social services got involved, people knew this now. So now it's his name. It's not what he did to me. It's what I've done to him and his name. And I knew if I went back, I don't know what will happen next time.
Right.
Now he's worked himself up, but he's not really in the picture. He doesn't know where I am because they don't have to tell him where I am. If I want to contact him, then I can. Yeah.
Okay. So you have so you're doing all these multiple things.
Yeah.
And also you want to catch on nonsense.
Yeah.
Jeez, guy.
I feel like nothing malicious or I used to. There's a street culture in the UK is quite a big thing, like with graffiti and like b-boying, breakdancing, and hip hop and like battles, and with that comes like like they form crews, almost, and it becomes almost like your surrogate family. So to me, that was what I wanted to be a part of that. I liked my own company, but for a while I was like, there's a bigger world out there where I can fit in as well, and but yeah, that's what I was aiming for, and it did not turn out the way I thought it would. Yeah. It went so much, I went further than I should have.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so I started smoking weed.
Okay, how old are you?
I am now 16.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 16. I started smoking weed, and it was something that I believed was like put on this earth for me specifically. At the time, like dealing with my trauma and my whatever, and it numbed me. To where my overactive mind would analyze everything. And I started hating myself a lot, like really, really hating myself every day. And and then I met this guy and we started stealing bikes, popping locks, and then selling bikes. And then I was introduced to shoplifting alcohol and breaking locks and then hitting dry stores. Then I was breaking into cars, and while I was doing this, I was doing it with this other guy, and at the time I didn't realize, I thought he just liked me, I didn't realize he was just using me, because I would do all of the, the work, and then he would split the money, like, not quite evenly, but,
right.
So, but at the time I felt, and he praised me, and he'd like, and it felt good,
Right. That was to sort of satisfy that hating yourself thing. But now, the hating yourself, was it because of smoking the weed, or was it hating yourself because of just life at that moment in time, in terms of your dad and abuse and all that?
I think that it has a little bit of both, because the weed. At the time, I thought I knew everything. I'm worldly. I'm experienced. Nobody can tell me anything. That nobody can tell me weed is bad for you. I mean, especially for a growing mind and a body that's developing. It kind of backfired, because when I'd smoke, I would go so deep into what I would think, you know, that I would start giving myself really bad anxiety,
Okay.
you know, which became actually quite crippling later in my life. And then the decisions I would be based would be clouded, and, you know, so, yeah.
Okay. So he was the father that you thought you wanted in terms of him looking after you and giving you the money and
and people like, you know, knew him everywhere he went, and like, you know, people liked him, and he also had an awesome pit bull, so I was like, he had like this whole, you know, the cliche like persona, you know, and I was like, oh, you know, that's the person I want to be, which, you know, it was terrible, but, you know, at the time, and I spent a lot of my time in bookstores and libraries.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my sanctuary. I would escape, you know, through reading. Yeah.
Did you read when you were growing up?
Yes, that's one thing my mom instilled in me. Is I've always read since I was really young. Yeah.
Okay. And any books that you can remember that were sort of like your go-to books at the time?
Yes, Lord of the Flies. The Hardy Boys when I was really young, even Enid Blyton. What else was there? There was quite a few, and then I would also I read encyclopedias a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm quite a good like 30 seconds player, general knowledge player.
Okay.
I mean, it's useless, but it's
30 seconds. You're the man. Okay. So you're reading a lot. You're going to bookshops and stuff. And was it just to, as I said, your sanctuary? But I mean, what else were you doing at the time besides obviously the breaking ends and all these things? And what else is happening?
I would be roaming London in the street. Like I'd have no direction at all, no goals, no purpose. There were a lot of programs actually available for people, you know, through the boys' place that I was staying, you know, where you can work with people, social worker, do courses, etc. Pull your CV up, you know. But to me, that was like very similar to school, and you know, I regret it now, you know, so much. But at the time, I was like, I don't want to be in here all day, you know. I think now I've got to go back to the boys' side. Like I'm enjoying having money in my pocket, you know. I enjoy going to, you know, doing things that other people may not be doing. You know, I wouldn't really have a set destination. I would just jump on the train or a tube, and I'd go. You know, and then music also was a big influence in my life. So I tended to go to a lot of parties and stuff like that. And then I met my dear friend Alchohol, which would come to rule my life for the next 14 years terribly.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where the Deck song now links in.
Yeah, it's got a very special meaning to me because, and I conquered that demon, so it wasn't easy, but I did.
Let me actually read those lyrics because I was actually reading them and because I saw you bopping to them and I was like, okay, this song is much deeper than. It says, I got wasted because I didn't want to deal with myself tonight. My thoughts get drowned until I feel all right. I keep drinking till I'm someone I don't recognize. I got wasted because I didn't want to deal with myself tonight. My thoughts get drowned until I feel all right. I keep drinking till I'm someone I don't recognize. Repeat the cycle every day. I gotta start with a drink. My life been getting sort of crazy. I don't want to think. I look myself in the mirror. I don't even blink. Then I get angry, take the rest and pour it in the sink. I know where this road goes.
That was very profound.
When I read those lyrics early on, I was like, wow. I was blown away.
No, I can definitely relate to that, you know. Actually, both my parents were alcoholics. My mom, not a crazy drunk, you know, like quite a little bit emotional, but not an abusive drunk. And I did not at the time think that I would at all be worse than both of them, you know. It was, I mean, I'd had a couple of beers, you know, once or twice, but I didn't enjoy it, you know. And then I got drunk on wine, and it tasted a lot better than beer, you know. It was easily available in the UK. It was cheap, you know, cheaper than food. And when I drank, well, after I passed the stage, because when you start drinking in your early stages, you know, your motor skills are out, and so you spin and you can't control yourself, you know. And then you pass that stage where you can kind of function, you know. But I had this confidence in me. I felt good. I would hit my best relationship at that time was my earphones and my music. So I would start drinking and I'd listen to my headphones the whole day until I passed out or until whatever, you know. It became like a therapy for me when I didn't think it was actually doing so much damage, but I became so reliant on the alcohol that when I was 18, 19, I had my first anxiety, a panic attack when I was outside the house and I thought I was dying. You know, and it was such a shock to the system because I never experienced anything like that before. You know, I thought something's wrong with me, and then as soon as I had a drink, it would go away. And then now I had to drink before I left the house, before I did anything. And I mean, I'm not talking about a glass, I'm talking about a whole bottle of wine before I left the house, you know.
And you're 18 at the stage.
And I'm 18 at the stage, yeah. And now I'm angry.
You know what is, and at the, you know, you're still at the social home, right? At the boys' home.
At this point, I had left the social home, and I was sleeping with people on people's floors that I knew. I was sleeping at the Heathrow Airport. I was sleeping at shelters that were available, pretty much wherever, you know. Girls I'd hooked up with and I met at a party. It varied, you know. I had absolutely no solid foundation.
Right.
And I was okay with that. I didn't see a problem.
Okay. So you can't leave home now without having a drink?
No, not at all. I have to drink like all day. Even before when I go to bed, you know, there's like at least half a bottle there. And I was drinking just wine. I was drinking like 5 or 6 bottles of wine a day.
And where are you getting the money from?
You get, because I'm British, got dual nationality. If you are unemployed and you're under a certain age, they give you a monthly like stipend, a gyro they call it. You cash it there, it's like £120 a week.
Okay.
So that would last me for a while, and then when I didn't have any, I would go and shoplift it.
Right. That's £120. That's 2,000 rands.
Crazy, yeah? And they give you traveling fare, they give you food. I mean, and they have the places to stay if that's what you accept there.
Yeah.
But
I was actually, you say that the PM, Richard Sunak, I think his name is, the current PM, they actually want to scrap part of the. No, it's not. Is it the dole?
Yeah, the dole. Yes, that's what it's called.
Yeah,
the dole varies from income, job seekers allowance. You know, the under 21. If you're a single mother and you have children, to your housing allowance. The more children you have, the more rooms you get. And your obviously the allowance per child. You know, and there is a lot of people on the dole. And people are committing fraud. So this is
exactly what Richard was saying, is that the PM is that what's happening now is that people are fraudulently abusing the system.
Yes, yeah.
And so England, since Brexit, the economy has just tanked.
100%.
So now they don't have money.
Yeah.
In short, you know, so their welfare system is sort of crumbling, and they're saying, okay, and people now have to get.
It's a weekly basis that they're dishing out this money. I mean, I committed a fraud there as well with my checks. I mean, I found out how to do it. At the time, it was very, very simple. You know.
How do you do it?
So you would go. It's called signing on. You know, you go with your insurance number, your name, and then you speak to a job center person to help you. Are you currently seeking work? Yes, I am. And they give you a piece of paper, and you've got to go to the actual addresses and get them to sign. Then they'll submit that, and then about 4 days later, you'd go and you'd pick up your check.
Okay.
Now, you know, it's with that check. The system is so. I couldn't believe that it actually worked because it's so ridiculous. There's also what they call the emergency gyro center, which is like a little section separate from the job center, and they help people who are in like a crisis, like maybe a mother and a child who've run away or whatever, then they issue them with an emergency gyro. So I'd cash that check and I'd go back to the place and I'd say I didn't receive my check, you know, and I told them that, and all they have to do is would go into the system or go speak to someone, but they believe you at your word, you know, and then they would be like, okay, we're going to issue you another one, and they'd issue me an emergency gyro, and you know, you just give your insurance number, because when they give you your check there, that you've only received it now, so they're not going to know until like 24 hours, you know.
Right.
Then I'd go to another job center, and then I would do the same thing, and I'd do like 4 or 5 of them a day. Yeah.
Jeez, dude. And how much money are we talking about here?
So that's 240, 360, 480.
480 pounds.
Yeah, in total, almost 500 pounds.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, yeah.
It's a lot of alcohol also.
It's a lot of alcohol and a lot of rubbish that I spend on, like absolutely useless things. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I really abuse the system, like, you know. But then when I was, I didn't work at the timeline, when I was about 19, 20, I started fighting, like getting into fights. I started getting violent, you know. My dad came out of me. I would go out and pick fights where I know I'm going to lose and get beaten up, you know, because I want to feel something. So, you know.
And are you still drunk at this stage when you?
Yeah, I'm still wasted, you know. And I mean, this time I've been arrested, you know, a lot of times by this point, you know, drunken, disorderly, assault, fraud, shoplifting, you know. And I went to it's called Feltham Young Offenders, so I did some time there. And then when I turned 21, I went to Brixton, HMP Brixton, and Wandsworth. I did time with both of them, and then
for those robberies and for what?
Yeah, for you know, my criminal record was building up now, and I'm repeat offending. So they
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How was time inside there?